This morning's Farm Report is sponsored by LS Tractor. Start blue, stay blue.
This year, make LS Tractor your all-season workhorse. From spring applications using LS tillers, box blades, rotary cutters, and grapples, to winter applications utilizing LS snow blowers, blades, and brooms. With this lineup, there's no job you can't do with LS tractors and implements. Learn more at lstractorusa.com or check out your local LS dealer.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here once more with you, and we appreciate the abiding weekly support of LS Tractor Company to sponsor this time with you, my little visit. I have some more information about worldwide tobacco use and or the use of products that have tobacco in them on a worldwide scale. And here is the opening of it. During a recent Tobacco Associates meeting, Darrell Jason, Senior Vice President and Analytics Officer for the Tobacco Merchants Association, known simply as TMA, spoke about the current market outlook for global and domestic leaf and examined the regulation of tobacco products by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Center for Tobacco Products. This annual meeting of Tobacco Associates, whereby Darrell Jason with the Tobacco Merchants Association addressed them recently. It was held at the Farm Bureau home office in Raleigh recently. Jason says that in 1981, the U.S. cigarette market needed 681 billion pieces to meet smoker demand. Now, a piece is also known as a stick, and a stick is comparable to a cigarette. In 2021, that obligation dropped to 214 billion pieces. So the domestic use dropped from 681 pieces in 1981 to 214 billion in 2021. That's a 64% drop from its peak to where it is now, he said. Annually, that's around 2.6%, and in the last 10 years, it's about a 3% drop. In 2015, cigarette consumption rose. Jason says this was due to falling gas prices that gave middle to lower class people extra income, and they chose to spend it on cigarettes. However, in 2016, gas prices started moving upward and consumption began declining once more. Consumption rose again in 2020 as COVID-19 hit the United States. More people stayed at home, Jason said. And when you stay at home, you're not at the office and you're not subject to smoking restrictions. So you can smoke at home, go outside, or do it in the house. In that way, more people were able to smoke, and therefore consumption went up. However, as workers returned to the office in 2021, consumption declined again, dropping the obligation to 215 billion pieces. I prefer to use the word sticks, 215 billion sticks. The Tobacco Merchants Association estimated that based on 2021 projections of about 229 billion pieces or sticks, if consumption would drop 3%, there would be a need for 203 billion pieces for the U.S. market by 2024. So that forecast could compare to 203 billion pieces. And that would be less than what we have recently seen. At 7%, the amount would decline to 171 billion pieces. So it continues to decline based on this projection. Jason says if the prediction followed a middle-of-the-ground approach, consumption would drop to only 187 billion pieces by 2024. People smoked more in 1965, just before health warnings were placed on cigarette packages, Jason said. As you can see, it was a 41.9%. It's now dropped to 14%. So over the last 54 years, the smoking prevalence rate has dropped by almost 2/3, just like consumption. Large and little cigars, however, have done well. In 2020, 12.95 billion pieces of large cigars were sold, according to the Tobacco Merchants Association. In 2021, sales were estimated at 15.42 billion pieces. Little cigar sales were 275.2 million pieces in 2020. A year later, 378.6 million pieces were estimated to be sold. Other markets didn't follow the cigar lead. For instance, pipe tobacco consumption fell considerably, as did the roll your own. Jason says the reason these markets declined so much over 10 years was because of the higher taxes imposed on the products and because of other products substituted for pipe and roll your own brands. Chewing tobacco also continued to decline in 2020. 15.7 million pounds were sold, according to the Tobacco Merchants Association. A year later, an estimated 15.2 million pounds were sold in 2021. So this continues to ease down. Moist snuff consumption goes up and down. It probably has hit the peak, Jason said, and we found that most snuff is a direct substitute for the vapor market. So to restate again what this was just said, snuff sometimes can be used as a substitute for the vapor market, and the vapor market is alive and well. The vapor market continues to rise as it has for the past few years. Jason says the vapor market is still a fifth of the size of the cigarette market. However, it is gaining market share. However, cigarettes maintain their share because they've had considerably greater price increases for the last few years as opposed to the vapor market. In the vape market breakdown, he says, Juul still leads the pack, consisting of about 40% of the market. Next in line is Vuse, V-U-S-E, followed by Enjoy, Blue, Puff Bar, and Logic. About 1/4 of the market produced the remaining 1%. So that's a little bit of what's going on, and to summarize it, overall things continue to decline on our tobacco products. That impacts the acreage grown in this country and even abroad, and some of these new products are taking market share from traditional products such as regular cigarettes and etc. So we'll just continue to monitor it and look on with a lot of interest. The bottom line of this is as consumption declines, so do acres of tobacco that our farmers could grow and make a good living from. But we'll see how that unfolds. Here's another story. Rising oil prices may cool cigarette demand. And the report I just gave you already states that demand is cooling. So this is going to cool it some more. The high price of gas not only hits consumers with higher gas prices, but it may discourage them from smoking, according to a report by Barclays indicate this. Experts believe that prices could rise for a wide range of products, but cigarette manufacturers like Altria and British American Tobacco will likely be among the companies that see falling demand linked to higher oil prices. Barclays analyst Gaurav Wan estimates that a 1% increase in oil prices will lead to a 0.1% decline in the U.S. Cigarette market volume. The trend seems to suggest that as consumers saved more money at the gas station and went to the attached convenience stores, they bought more cigarettes. Now, as oil prices move higher, the reverse could happen. This is estimated. This is projected, or we'll see. For fiscal 2022, Barclays is predicting that U.S. cigarette volumes will fall by 5%, with prices rising by 7%, this report indicated. Looking for cheaper alternatives, some consumers will likely turn to other tobacco substitutes like e-cigarettes or modern oral nicotine pouches. So all of this is not going to change overnight, but we continue to see a gradual decline in the old traditional tobacco products that were so sustaining and supportive to our economy, to our farmers for so many years. And so we are in the crosshairs of a lot of change and revolution. I've been reading from a newsletter that I get from a friend of mine up in Virginia, a boy named Rocky Womack. And Rocky has a newsletter that documents all these things I've been telling you. He is an agricultural journalist, and he does a good job covering a lot of tobacco issues. He includes a reminiscing, nostalgic story that he shares in each newsletter. He calls it Farm Memories. The information I'm about to share now is a nostalgic look down memory lane from Rocky Womack in Virginia. That is Southside Virginia, up in the Kenbridge, Victoria, even South Hill area, Southside. As some of you may know, I grew up on a tobacco farm in Virginia. In this newsletter issue and others ahead, I thought it would be interesting to look back and share some memories from the past. Below is just one story that I remember, and perhaps you can relate to a similar memory. If so, I'll be happy to receive your letters and perhaps publish them. Steering an International Farmall tractor, that is a Farmall 140, my father was cultivating tobacco. A much younger and thinner Rocky was on foot following behind, carrying a long-handled hoe. Now you might wonder, what in the world is he toting a hoe for? I was uncovering the small plants and had done this so much for so long that I rarely damaged the green leaves. Notice I said rarely. It did happen occasionally when the blade slipped a bit too close, or perhaps it hit one of the many small to medium-sized rocks in the field. When this happened, the metal would nip a section of the leaf. Fortunately, we had enough tobacco planted, so it didn't make too much of a difference. It was a hot day, the sun was bright, and the temperature was baking. As the hour neared about 11 a.m., and my tennis shoes felt more like steel-toed boots, I was hoping Dad would turn off the red machine, that is the 140 Farmall. A few minutes later, I heard the engine shut off and saw him step down onto the cultivator, then to the ground. He walked over and said, "Let's go." These words were welcome because I knew we were either going to the Virginia towns of Victoria or Kenbridge. In Victoria, we would go about 3 miles to Vaughn's Grocery, where the store used to have a big red rectangular ice box with Coca-Cola logos on the outside. It was such as this, and you would reach over and pull in and pull your drink out. Inside were various kinds of soft drinks, usually the Coca-Cola brand, lined and stacked inside. Now in Kenbridge, about 5 miles away, we would stop by a service station with its vertical Coca-Cola ice box. And this was shared, this memory, by Tracy Estes. Probably would remember this since his father ran the station at the time. This ice box was a unique one. We simply walked up to the box, opened the door, and pulled out the soft drinks. As soon as we pulled one out, another would slip right into its place. And my goodness, they were cold. Our favorite soft drink was the 6.5 ounce bottle of Coca-Cola, just enough to hit the spot. Some of you may remember these small bottles that we later used to measure offshoot tea into gallon jugs of water. Offshoot tea, of course, was a tobacco sucker control product, one of the popular ones of that day. My father and I would visit with Mr. Estes and enjoy drinking the cola, or we would stand by the icebox in Victoria and chat with its owner, Mr. Vaughn, that store's owner. These short trips were fond memories after working hard on the farm. It was a good time in a small boy's life and a welcome break from a hot, tiring half day. And so that's a little bit of reminiscing from years gone by, according to Rocky Womack. In another review of where we stand in acreage and volume of flue-cured tobacco, the latest figures that I have will go back to 2022. We're always a year behind in these calculations. And in the United States, the acreage of tobacco, that is flue-cured tobacco, was 153,000 acres. This is broken down in the following regions: 8,000 acres in Georgia. North Carolina grew 126,000 acres. In South Carolina, there was an acreage of 6,500 acres. And in Virginia, 12,500 acres. So that's kind of rule of thumb where we are now. And based on 2022, there's talk or suggestion that these figures may be up just a little bit for 2023. So that is all that I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a lot scheduled here at the studio this morning. And it's been a great honor to be with you. I look forward to joining you once more next week. Have a good day, and God bless you all.